Explosions shook Iran's southern coast in the past few hours, while sirens sounded at American bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. Commercial ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz dropped drastically. As already highlighted here on the channel, what was left of the fragile ceasefire and the interim memorandum signed in June collapsed after Iran resumed attacks on merchant vessels. Iran broke the agreement by launching direct attacks against 3 tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, including vessels flying the flags of the Marshall Islands, Saudi Arabia, and Liberia. These attacks against commercial targets and their civilian crews violated the memorandum that aimed to reduce tensions and restore a more predictable flow of maritime traffic. The American response was swift. U.S. Central Command ordered a new wave of airstrikes, broader and more intense than the previous ones since the April ceasefire. The chosen targets reveal a clear strategy to degrade Iran's ability to threaten international shipping. Among the facilities hit is the Maritime Traffic Control Tower at the port of Shabahar in southeastern Iran. This structure, confirmed as destroyed by Iranian authorities and documented in geolocated images and videos, was used precisely to monitor and coordinate the movement of ships in the Gulf of Oman region and near the Strait of Hormuz. With its destruction, Iran loses a central point of maritime surveillance and communication that allowed it to closely monitor commercial traffic. Other targets included piers in Shabahar, coastal radars, air defense systems, anti-ship missile launch sites, and dozens of fast boats belonging to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. CENTCOM stated that the operation specifically aims to reduce Iran's ability to threaten freedom of navigation. In the Strait of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of the world's traded oil and liquefied natural gas passes, the attacks in this wave were more numerous than those in the previous round and focused on naval and surveillance infrastructure along the southern coast. Iran did not remain passive. The Revolutionary Guard responded with ballistic missiles and drones against American bases in Bahrain and Kuwait. Targets included facilities in Jufair and Sheikh Issa in Bahrain, as well as in Arifjan and Ali al-Salem in Kuwait. Air raid sirens sounded in several cities in the Gulf region, and local authorities confirmed interception attempts. Iran also reported 14 dead and 78 injured in 5 provinces hit by the American attacks, with damage to ports, railways, and military facilities. President Donald Trump was direct. The new American attacks were retaliation for the bombings against the ships. In a public message, Trump stated that if Iran attacks ships in the Strait again, things will get much worse. If you want access to full analyses and exclusive content here on the channel, become an exclusive member for only 7 Rs per month. In light of the new hostilities, Donald Trump declared the ceasefire over. Although he left open the possibility of negotiations between them, maritime traffic in the Strait dropped to only 14 cargo ships yesterday. Thursday, the lowest number since the June memorandum, when the average was about 34 vessels per day. Larger ships avoided the passage. The destruction of the control tower did not cause any planes to be lost, declared. No Iranian surveillance capability without that monitoring hub. Without monitoring, Iran is partially blind when it comes to tracking the real-time movement of merchant ships in the area. Coastal radars and other surveillance systems were also hit in previous rounds and in this most recent one. This makes it harder to coordinate possible actions against commercial traffic, such as the use of drones, missiles, or fast boats by the Revolutionary Guard. In the short term, navigation through the Strait is likely to become safer and more predictable. The reduction in Iranian surveillance capability decreases the likelihood of new surprise attacks against merchant ships. Shipping companies and insurers are closely monitoring the situation, and the flow of oil may stabilize at higher levels than during previous peaks of tension. The port of Shabahar, the only deepwater port. Iran's only deepwater port, and important for trade routes, suffered additional damage to piers and supporting infrastructure, which further complicates any Iranian effort to project maritime presence in the region. The port allows products from the eastern part of the country to be shipped to the sea and connects Iran with the Asian trade network through Afghanistan and Pakistan. In other words, this is part of China's Silk Road, but that's a topic for another video. However, the Iranian retaliation against American bases in the Gulf, even without causing significant damage, shows that Tehran still maintains the ability to respond asymmetrically. Missiles and drones are able to reach regional targets, even though they are often intercepted. The Revolutionary Guard has warned that it will continue to act if American attacks persist. The conflict continues. The new incident involving ships could trigger a much greater escalation, as warned by Trump. Analyzing the military situation, Washington has managed at this stage to impose higher costs on Iran than in previous rounds. The focus on surveillance and command infrastructure, instead of just isolated targets, represents an evolution in strategy. By striking the Shabahar Tower and associated assets, Washington seeks not only to punish, but to permanently alter the threat equation in the Strait. Iran loses part of its advantage in observation and rapid response against commercial traffic. Even so, the Strait of Hormuz does not automatically return to being definitively free and safe. Iran maintains other anti-ship missile, drone, and mine capabilities, as well as influence in other parts of the country. The destruction of an important tower also does not eliminate the entire surveillance network, but it represents a significant weakening. Commercial shipping faces less immediate risk of coordinated harassment, which benefits the global flow of energy, but diplomatic and military tension persists. The American attacks this week were the most intense since the April ceasefire, signaling a change in tone. To watch the full analysis video, become an exclusive member.
E marca uma mudança de tom.
$7.99 per month. And just click here on this button to become a member. Now I want to know your opinion. The United States did the right thing by responding to Iranian threats with forceful strikes. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos.